Hey guys, this is Vaish from Vaishayes and we are going to continue the R.S. Sharma series, that is the ancient history. So chapter 1 was uploaded, so chapter 2 we are going to do today, and it is about coins, inscriptions, literature work and all those sources from which we get to know the entire history or the kingdoms. Okay, so Facebook page link is given here where you can get the MCQs. Around 225 MCQs are there for just 200 rupees. You can get it from our Facebook page, just message there. Okay, if you don't have Facebook, then tell me in comment section, we'll find out some other way to get in touch. Okay. So let's begin. The PDF is available in the Google. Just Google it and get it. Okay, it's not NCRT website. Just Google it. Google if you want this PDF, you will get it. Okay, many websites have already uploaded it. So the construction of ancient Indian history. So material remains. That is what they begin. So here, if you see, the ancient Indians left innumerable material remains. The stone temples in South India, the brick monasteries in Eastern India, still stand to remind us of great building activities of the past. Okay, so buildings is one material remain which gives us a lot of insights into the past. But the major part of these remains lies buried in the mounds scattered all over the country. Okay, mounds is something like this a pile of mud kind of thing, or you can tell an elevated land. Okay, so only a few have been exposed to give us some knowledge of the life of the ancient people. Since most sites have been dug vertically, they provide a good chronological sequence of material culture. Horizontal diggings being very expensive are very few in number, with the result that excavations do not give us a full and complete picture of material life in many phases of ancient Indian history. This is, I think, in the class 6 NCRT also I told you, like when they dig deeper and deeper, they'll come to know the older and older civilization. Okay, because once civilization will come, then it will get it will go away. Then the other people, the remains will be there. Then mud will be there, and it will be like one layer will be covered with another layer. So the next civilization will come. Then again that layer keeps on increasing. So the deeper you dig, the more older civilization you can get to know. That is what they are trying to tell this by this vertical and horizontal digging. Now even in the mounds which have been excavated, the ancient remains have been preserved in varying proportions. In the dry climate of western Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan and northwestern India, antiquities are found in a better state of preservation. Okay, so you know, like there is wet areas and dry areas in India. So the dry areas and all, it is still remaining fine. Okay, but in the wet areas, you know, whatever was there, suppose the copper plate or suppose the iron plate, and all these things will get degraded, right? It will get corroded. So that is why it is difficult to get them or retain them. Okay, even the mud structures and all will be totally destroyed. So that is why then the drier areas we find more and more of ruins. Okay, you know, the Harappa, everything is there in the desert region, right, in the northwestern region. So that is why we could excavate everything there. Whatever was there in the central India or other South India or something, we cannot excavate or we cannot get it back. So that is what they are telling. So here again a lot of structures, stone structures, large scale remains, moist alluvial soil. So they have told the same thing. Now excavations have brought to light the cities which the people established around 2500 BC in northwestern India. We know the Harappan civilization in detail. That will be there again, I think, third or fourth chapter here. We'll see. Now similarly they tell us about the material culture which was developed in the Gangetic basin. They show the layout of the settlements in which people lived, the type of pottery they used, the form of house in which they dwelt, the kind of cereals they used as food. So anything, okay, everything about them we know in detail. Okay, whichever age it be. Okay, right from the 2500 BC. Even before that we know the Paleolithic age and all that we'll see in the next chapter. So here megalith, one important term in class 6 also I told you. Megalith is actually the large stone structures. Okay. Even burial grounds will be there, burial sites will be there, a lot of pillar kind of structures are there. It's all one big large stone, okay, megalith. And this is not in the old Stone Age, it is actually in the time of Iron Age. Okay, that is what they are telling here. People lived in the Deccan from the Iron Age onwards, that we come to know about from the megalith structures. Okay, a lot of pictures I showed you in class 6. Please watch class 6 NCRT and then watch this. Then it will be a total coverage of ancient history. Now, the science which enables us to dig the old mounds in a systematic manner in successive layers and to form an idea of the material life of the people is called archaeology. So archaeology is this activity of, we will see a lot of terms like this. Okay, in italics it will be there, I will explain you all the terms. So archaeology means excavating these old remains. Okay, now material remains recovered as a result of excavation and exploration are subjected to various kinds of scientific examination. Their dates are fixed according to the radiocarbon method. Okay, radiocarbon method is one method in which they will come to know about the age of it or how much old it is. Okay, for which facilities exist in India. The history of climate and vegetation is known through an examination of plant residues and especially through pollen analysis. So second method. Okay, so radiocarbon method, then pollen analysis for this climate and vegetation from plant residues. Thus on this basis it is suggested that agriculture was practiced in Rajasthan and Kashmir as far back as 6000 BC. Okay, if you remember, Mehrgarh was a site, I think, in the Neolithic age where the settled agriculture began. I told you in class 6. So same way Rajasthan and Kashmir from 6000 BC onwards they have found traces of agriculture being practiced. The nature and components of metal artifacts are analyzed scientifically, and as a result, the sources from where metals were obtained are located, and the stages in the development of metal technology are identified. An examination of animal bones enables us to find out whether the animals were domesticated, or also to point out the uses to which they are put. Okay, so animals also, I showed you some pictures like how the wild animals' teeth will be there, how the domestic animals' teeth will be there. Try to recall class 6th. Okay, that is about the what the dating of things. Okay, how will we find the old dates of old events? That is what we discuss now. Next will be coins. And coins, a mains question came last year. Question was explain the numismatics of Gupta age. So many people did not even know what is numismatics. Here in NCRT or in this book, it is clearly given the study of coins is called numismatics. If you have read this, at least that 2 seconds which you took extra to think what is numismatics would have been cleared. Okay. Now ancient Indian currency was not issued in the form of paper. So there was no paper, it was coins actually. Okay. So because paper came to be used in India much later, that's in the 14th century only. 14th century is around the time of, you can tell, Delhi Sultanate. Okay, that time only paper came into existence. Ancient coins were made of metal, copper, silver, gold, lead. So everything is there. Suppose UPSC put a statement like only gold, only silver, only copper, then it's not right. Okay, even lead is there. Coin molds made of burnt clay have been discovered. Okay, even the mold have been discovered. Most of them belong to the Kushana period. Okay, now we'll see important things like Kushan. It's important because I think the first gold coins were discovered here. But with the most number of gold coins, if someone asks, it is not Kushana, it will be Gupta. Okay, we'll see it here itself somewhere. So Kushana is the place where we find lot of coins. Okay, but the first gold coin is there. So the use of such mold in the post-Gupta period almost disappeared. So after post-Gupta, that is in the 4th AD, 5th AD or something, you can tell it is not there. Okay, 4th century AD actually. Now, since there was nothing like the modern banking system in ancient times, people deposited money in earthenware and also in brass vessels and maintained them as precious hoards on which they could fall back in time for need. So that time there is no bank, right? So they will store everything in vessels. Okay, so this earthenware or brass vessels. Okay, so that you should know. Many of these hoards contain not only Indian coins but also those minted abroad, such as in the Roman Empire. Okay, even foreign coins have been discovered in India. You know, Kerala or South India, Tamil Nadu, these places had trade with the Roman Empire. Okay, in huge quantity. Huge amount, you can tell, like pepper will be given and then they will be taking gold from there. Okay, so now most of them are preserved. Okay, in museums in every city is there. Okay, many Indian coins are found in the museums of even Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan. So even the SAARC countries or South Asian countries also it is preserved. Since Britain ruled over India for a long time, British officials succeeded in transferring many of the Indian coins to private and public collections in that country. Okay, so it's also taken back by them, the Britishers. Coins of the major dynasties have been catalogued and published. We have catalogues of coins in the Indian Museum of Calcutta. Again, telling a lot of museum, we don't need that. Our earliest coins contain a few symbols, but the later coins mention the name of king. So if you see the first Harappan and all, if you know, it will be like a lot of symbols. Okay, animal figures or some kind of unidentifiable symbols also are there. Okay, which people are still trying to decipher. Okay, many things. But later it was like name of kings, gods and all. If you know, in Samudragupta time, even there was a Samudragupta playing the veena. Okay, this thing is there. King who played the veena is Samudragupta. Okay, so such coins were released. Then areas where they found indicate the region of the circulation. So this coins discovery also helped the historians to understand their place of rule. Okay, so Indo-Greeks also came, Afghanistan, who came to India through North Afghanistan. Okay, that route is what they obviously will take because they have to come from the western side, and they also ruled here in the 1st and 2nd century BC. It's all discovered because that kind of coins are discovered in that particular timeline. Okay, now coins also throw significant light on economic history. Some coins were issued by the guilds of merchant. Okay, there are a lot of terminology for the merchant guild. I have done in detail in the NCRT chapters. Please watch it. It will come for prelims. Okay, and goldsmith with the permission of the rulers. This shows that craft and commerce had become important. Coins helped transactions on a large scale and contributed to trade. We get the largest number of coins in post-Mauryan times. Okay, these were made of lead, 14, copper, bronze, silver, gold. So everything is there, and Guptas issued the largest number of gold coins. This is what I told. Okay, so Kushanas, Guptas, understand the timeline is different, and also the reason for which they are remembered is also different. Okay. So again, a few coins belonging to post-Gupta is found. Coins also contain religious symbols. Okay, that and all you will know. Art, religion, culture, everything is there in the coins. Now next is inscription. So two important terms you have to know. Like archaeology, there is something called epigraphy and there is something called paleography. So epigraphy is something like you are just studying the older thing, inscriptions. Okay, That is, study of inscription is epigraphy. You can remember like epic is like in inscriptions only, right? So studying that is epigraphy, but the writings of that, the old writings used in that, there will be different type of writing, right? That writing style, if you study, that is called paleography. Okay, so epigraphy is inscriptions and paleography is the writing style. Okay, now inscriptions were carved on seals, stones, pillars, rocks, copper plates, temple walls. We'll see many things in detail. Okay, pictures are less in this particular thing because it's a very old NCERT, but new NCERTs I have showed you enough pictures. Okay, now but in the early centuries of the Christian era, copper plates began to be used. Okay, that is first Christian era means starting like first AD, 2 AD and all, copper plates also came to existence. Even then the practice of engraving inscriptions on stone continued. So stones were not discontinued, but copper also began to flourish. Okay, in temple walls also it was there. Like coins, inscriptions preserved in the various museums, so that's also there in a lot of museums. Then again here some things, early inscriptions were written in Prakrit. So that order again I am telling you, Prakrit was the first one, then only later Sanskrit will come. Pali was there along with Prakrit. Okay, Buddhism, Jainism time we will see in detail. Now again second timeline they are telling, then even in the Prakrit continued to be. So again after Sanskrit comes, it's not like Prakrit is stopped. Okay, so same thing, it's always continued, same like stone and copper. When copper came, stone is not discontinued. Okay, now next one is again inscriptions of different people, and some collection is called some corpus inscriptorum indicarum. We don't need this. They're telling the inscriptions which was collected during the post-Mauryan and Gupta time. It is called like that. Okay, the collections. Okay, we don't need it now. Still there are more than 50,000 inscriptions, mostly of South India, which await publication. So there are most of the things preserved in museum, but it's not published outside. Okay, so that is there. Then in Harappan inscription requires decipherment. I told you it's not readable. Their script, they had some script, but it is not still understandable. Historians are still working on it. Okay, Ashokan inscriptions are another famous thing. Okay, it is inscribed in the Brahmi script. Remember that Brahmi script is Ashokan inscription, and it is written from left to right. That is properly left to right. That is Brahmi script, like we write now. But some were also inserted in the Kharoshthi script, which was written from the right to left. So the difference between Brahmi script and Kharoshthi script is one is written from left to right, that is the normal one, and Kharoshthi is from right to left. However, the Brahmi script prevailed in the whole country except for the northwestern part. Greek and Aramic scripts were employed in writing Ashokan inscription. So Ashokan inscription is written in almost all languages. Okay, wherever they are placed, based on that language will be there. So Brahmi continued to be main script till the end of the Gupta period, and epigraphist, that the person who studies the inscriptions, can decipher most inscriptions of the country up to about the 8th century if he has carefully learnt Brahmi and its various. So if you know Brahmi up to 8th century, it's easy to decipher. That is what they are telling. But afterwards we notice strong regional variation in the script, which is called by different names. That is when later lot of scripts will come. The earliest inscriptions are found in the seals of Harappa belonging to 2500 BC. They have not been deciphered so far. Like I told, the oldest inscription deciphered so far is the Ashokan thing. Okay, that's the oldest one. Before that we could not decipher. So Ashoka's time is 3rd century BC. Okay, Ashoka pillar, you know, it's placed across India. I showed you a map in class 6th, and so it was actually the inscription was found by Firoz Shah Tughlaq, who will come later. You know, the 13th century or something. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, the Tughlaq dynasty. Watch class 7th videos to know about the order of dynasties. Okay, so there he found it at Meerut. Okay, so Meerut is where this location is important, because I will tell you some other inscriptions also later. So in Meerut, the inscription was found by Firoz Shah Tughlaq, that is Ashoka's inscriptions. Now he brought it to Delhi and asked the Pandits of the empire to decipher it, but they failed. Okay, so they cannot find it that time. The same difficulty was faced by British also could not find. Then later what happened is James Prinsep, this name multiple times I have told you in different lectures. James Prinsep was actually a civil servant there, that time British. In 1837 he was the one who first deciphered, okay, the Ashoka's inscription. I showed you, I think, picture also, try to recall. Okay, we have various types of inscriptions. Some can be royal orders and decisions regarding social release, administrative. So many things are there with many themes also. Okay, and every religion had been following, like Buddhism, Jainism, Vaishnavism, Shaivism. Everybody followed it also. Okay, so like that. This is the next important thing. Allahabad inscription. Allahabad inscription of Samudragupta. Okay, I told you, taught you something about Prashasti. Prashasti means praising the king. Something will be written, and that is the Allahabad inscription. It's related to Samudragupta. And Meerut inscription is related to Ashoka. And here the court poet was Harisena. Okay, watch class 6. It has more details. Okay, class 6. I told you Harisena was the court poet who was a very important minister also in his court. He was the one who wrote this details about him on the Allahabad inscription. Okay, finally we have many donative records, which refer especially to gift of money, cattle. So many donations happened that time. Okay, that also is inscribed. Okay, because we have records of that, whoever gave donations. Okay, So again, grand land, revenue, villages, that kind of writings will be there whenever loan is given, whenever temple related things are written, and that is written in almost all languages: Prakrit, Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu. These are all the older languages. Now literary sources. Again, Indians knew writing as early as 2500 BC. Okay, so we know Harappa civilization, they had some writing. Okay, and not older than 4 centuries. So they're telling the timeline only, and the place where they write. Okay, that's important. Like how they'll write. They'll write it on the birch bark and palm leaves. Okay, the tree bark or the palm leaves is where they wrote. But in Central Asia, where the Prakrit language was spread from India, manuscripts were also written on sheep leather and wooden tablets. Okay, so this is also UPSC kind of statements. In India, it was birch bark and palm leaves. In Central Asia, it was sheep leather and wooden tablets. Okay, these writings are called inscriptions, obviously, but they were good as manuscripts. Manuscripts, handwritten thing is sometimes called manuscripts. So manu means hand in Latin language. Okay, when printing was not known, manuscripts were valued immensely. Although all Sanskrit manuscripts etc. found all over India, everywhere it's found, but mostly it is in South India, Kashmir and Nepal. Okay, that's all. That's in the northmost and southmost, and also in Nepal. Okay, at present inscriptions are mostly preserved in museums and manuscripts in libraries. Okay, that's how they are preserved. Okay, in museums and libraries. Then again, they're now going to tell about the epics, the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Then the Puranas are there. Rig Veda, Vedas, Rig Veda, Atharva Veda, Yajur Veda, and the Sama Veda will be there. Okay, each has a different meaning. I'll make a table and explain you someday. But here in NCERT, just the names are given now. Okay, the Brahmanas are there, Upanishads are there. These are all old textbooks, and see the timeline around 1000 to 500 BC. So it's not the AD time; it is the BC time. Okay. Now Rig Veda, what it has? Rig Veda mainly contains prayers, while the later Vedic texts mainly comprise not only prayers but also rituals, magic, and mythological stories. Okay, that you will know. Even Sama Veda has a lot of things about music and all. Okay, magic. This and all will be, I think, in the Atharva Veda. Okay, so everything has its own meaning. So I'll tell you later someday when we deal it. However, the Upanishads contain philosophical speculation. Upanishad is something like sitting near and compiling. That is Upanishad, the meaning, literal meaning. Okay, so it will have the speculations or the little more analysis of whatever happened in the Vedas. It's a later phase. Upanishads will come in the later phase. Now again, they're telling about Mahabharata and this thing. Okay, Ramayana, and you should know Mahabharata had different names at different stages of its development. Okay, initially it had only 8,800 verses, and it was called the Jaya Samhita. Okay, later it was raised to 24,000 verses. That time it was called Bharata. Then it was raised to 1 lakh verses. That time it was called the Mahabharata or the Satasahasri Samhita. Okay, so Jaya Samhita, Bharata, Satasahasri Samhita is the order. Okay, 8,000, 24,000 and 1 lakh. In case the prelims question come, you should know. It contains narrative, descriptive and detective material. It's not clear. The main narrative is related to the Kaurava Pandava conflict, may belong to the later Vedic times. So again, telling what it contains and all, we don't need it. Okay, so that is what Mahabharata is about. And Ramayana, it is actually initially it was 12,000 and finally it became 24,000. Also, one point you have to remember is, even though Ramayana is older in timeline compared to Mahabharata, it was composed later than Mahabharata. Okay, here composed later than Mahabharata. Okay, the final version. Now the post-Vedic time, again lot of sacrifices, Varna system will come. Then 2 terms I have to teach you here. One is Grihya Sutras and another will be Sulva Sutras. Okay, Grihya Sutra means it is containing the collection containing domestic rituals. That is the civil rights what we have right now, the birth, the marriage, funerals, death, all those things. That is there in the Grihya Sutras. But what is Sulva Sutra? Sulva Sutra is about the fire altar. For that puja and all, sacrifice and all, they'll have that fire altar right in the center, and they'll be doing some kind of puja. So that fire altar construction method is there in Sulva Sutra. So Grihya Sutra is domestic, Sulva Sutra is fire altar. Okay, match the following question will come. Religious books of Jains and Buddhism were also in plenty. It will be there across India, Magadha, Nepal, Sri Lanka, because Ashoka used to spread it. Okay, so a lot of regions are there, not very important, but everywhere it was found. So teachings of Gautam Buddha and Jaina we can know. One important thing you have to know again is Jataka. Jataka is actually about the previous birth of Buddha. They are telling like about 550 births were there previous to Buddha, only then actual Buddha came. So the stories about his previous birth is there in Jataka. Okay, and the incidental reference to political events in the age of Buddha. So it has previous life and also this life also. Okay, it's a kind of folk tale. Jaina texts were written in Prakrit and finally compiled in the 6th century AD in Vallabhi in Gujarat. So this Jaina text was compiled in Vallabhi in Gujarat, the final text. Okay, 6th century AD. So that is again one point. Then let me see what is important. Jaina text referred repeatedly to trade and traders. So if UPSC put a statement like this, it is true. Okay, Jaina text refer repeatedly to trade and traders. Okay, so again Dharma Shastras is something else. Dharma Shastra means it has this it's law book kind of thing. Okay, the laws, it will have a lot of things inside it based on that particular thing, and it's also a secular literature. It's not specific to Hinduism or something. It is a secular literature. Okay, so it has Dharma Sutras, Smritis and commentaries. That is what they are telling. So again, first 6th century, 6th AD. Okay, that time it is. Then Arthashastra, very important book of Kautilya, and I think I read somewhere like the first time it was translated was into the language, Malayalam language of Kerala. Okay, that is the first translation of Arthashastra. Initially, maybe it is in Sanskrit because it is that timing. I think it is Sanskrit. Okay, so again, it has these many volumes, these many books, and it has a lot of content about the polity and economy. That and all right? Polity, economy, management, administrative, everything is there in Arthashastra. Okay, Kautilya is also called as Vishnugupta. Also, he has many names. Okay. Kautilya, Chanakya, Vishnugupta, it's all him, one person only. Then again, Bhasa, Kalidasa, Banabhatta, different important people. Kalidasa, it is the time of Gupta, and Banabhatta is, I think, at the time of Harsha. Okay, you should know these, okay, relative things, contemporary things. Abhijnana Shakuntalam is a very important book of Kalidasa, okay. That is also important. It's a love story of a king and a woman, so that is also a very important thing. Because UPSC asked that last time, it asked Malavika Agnimitram is the love story between whom and whom, something like that they asked, okay. So that was also Kalidasa's book. So again, cultural life of Guptas, like I told, then Sangam literature is something important because in South India at that time, Tamil culture was improving, and they had this group, assembly group, that was called Sangam, and that's why the books written by them is called Sangam literature. Okay, so that is what they are given here. So social, economic, and political life of the people living in the Tamil Nadu, that is what is there in Sangam literature. Maybe 3rd century BC to 3rd century AD, you can call the timings. Now foreign again, lot of people visited India, like Chinese people and all came, but before that they are telling about something called a Greek visitor mentioned someone about Sandrocotas. Okay, Sandrocotas, it's actually Chandragupta. Okay, Chandragupta, if you try to read it in kind of American accent, you yourself will sometimes read it as Sandrocotas. Okay, Chandragupta is being read as that way. So that is actually contemporary to Alexander the Great. Also, the timing is also perfect. It is the time when the Mauryan Empire was there. So Chandragupta Maurya, okay, not the Gupta one. It is actually Maurya. That is the grandfather of Ashoka. Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, so this actually is mentioned in some of the Greek textbooks. Okay, another name you have to know is Indica. Again, for India, they told Indica. That's all. Indica, Megasthenes. Okay, Megasthenes was again contemporary to Chandragupta. He came to his court. He was actually a court member of Megasthenes. Was a part of the person called Seleucus Nicator. Seleucus Nicator was a Greek ruler. In his court, this person was there. He visited India, and then he wrote a lot of things about Chandragupta Maurya. So we have a lot of information based on their textbooks only, not what Indians wrote. Okay, these Greek people wrote great things about this Mauryan dynasty. That is why we know. Now some important books like Ptolemy's geography is there. Okay, and some Erythraeus, here something was there. The Periplus. Okay, if you see Periplus of Erythraean Sea and Ptolemy's geography. Because match the following can come: Ptolemy's geography, Greek books. Then here some more is there. Pliny's Naturalis Historia. Okay, so geography related is Ptolemy, and history related is Pliny. Okay, Ptolemy and Pliny. So that just try to remember. Then these travelers, Fashion and Huansang, I have told multiple times in various lectures. So Fashion is the time of Guptas, and Huansang is the time of Harsha. You can remember like H and H. Okay, Huansang, Harsha. But sometimes this Huansang will be named as Xuanzang, like X will be there. Then also you should know that Xuanzang is same as Huansang. Okay, H and X is same person they are referring to, and he came in the time of Harsha. This Fashion is one who came in the time of Gupta. So everything in detail I have done in class 6. Please watch that. So again, that is the same thing. Then historical sense, Puranas, no much information here. Just the 4 ages they are telling, like the Krita, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali. Now it is Kali Yuga. Dwapara was the time of Krishna. Dwapara Yuga. Treta was the time of Sri Rama. That Rama. Treta Yuga, and before that it was Krita Yuga or maybe Satya Yuga also they sometimes tell. Okay, just the name of the yugas, that how Puranas divide the timeline, the eras you can tell. Okay, different times, not like 1 year or 10 years. It's a huge era. Okay. So that's the timeline is important. If you know these kind of things, it's easy to divide the timeline. Now, very important thing: Vikram Samvat and Saka Samvat. These are also eras which are in different timelines. So, 58 BC starting time, that era is called Vikrama Samvat. Then it is Saka Samvat in 78 AD. Okay. Then after that, Gupta era is in 319 AD. So try to remember this order. Not an issue if you don't know the dates, but this order you should know. Vikram Samvat was first, then Saka Samvat, and then Gupta. If you know, it is in reverse alphabetic order. Okay, first is V, then it is S, and then it is G. So obviously it is reverse. If you go from down to bottom, it is like Gupta, Saka, and Vikram Samvat. So if you know the names at least in alphabetic order, you can arrange. Okay, Gupta was the newest one, then Saka, then Vikram Samvat. Okay. So that is what I wanted to convey there. Then here some books, very important. UPSC repeatedly ask. So Harsha Charita is by Banabhatta. Okay, Banabhatta was his court poet, Harsha's court poet, and he wrote about him, the king. So Harsha Charita. Okay, Harshavardhan is the king, and Harsha Charita is the book. Now next is Ramacharita. Ramacharita is by Sandhyakhara Nand. So this name in no other textbook it will be there. So try to memorize. Okay, because they will put Harsha Charita. I'll also show you a sample MCQ after this. So Ramacharita is Sandhyakhara Nandi, and then it actually, what is it dealing with? It is dealing with this some peasants and one king related conflict. Okay, so the king is actually Pala prince. Okay, Pala means it's in Bengal region that time. So Rampala was the king of Pala kingdom versus some, it's not clear here, but some peasants are there. Just remember the king versus peasants in Pala kingdom, that is in Ramacharitra. Okay, Ramacharita. Okay, that is Sandhyakar Nand. Then Bilana wrote something like Vikramanka Deva Charita. Okay, and this is about the Vikramaditya 6, okay, of the Chalukya dynasty. Okay, Chalukya king of Kalyan. Okay, some places there. Their Chalukya king is there, Vikramaditya. His details only is there in Bilhana's Vikramadeva Charita. Why this is important? Because another name you will learn, Kalhana, here down. Kalhana actually wrote about the kings of Kashmir. Okay, those stream of kings, that is called Rajataringini. It is a biography of kings of Kashmir. So Kalhana is this Rajataringini, Bilhana is Vikramdeva Charita, Sandhyakarnanda is Ramacharita, and Harsha Charita by Banabhatta. Okay, 4 names they can put on as the following. Okay, so this is some questions. Try to pause and see it. I'll show you MCQs now. Okay, so this is the first question, exactly what I taught you now. Okay, which of the following biography and authors are matched correctly? So see whether I have done any small mistake here, or tell if all of the above are true, and tell me in comment section. Okay, put like this, MCQ 28, this is the answer, like that you put in comments. Next one, Ptolemy, geography. Pliny, natural historia. Megasthenes, Indica. Phashan wrote about Gupta. Huanzhen wrote about Harsha. So whether all are true or whether I made anything purposely, like anything ulta like this, try to find out. Okay, these are 2 questions. I'll show one more question. So again, pollen analysis is used to find about ancient vegetation and climate. Study of coins is called numismatics. Study of ancient scriptures is called paleography. Study of writings used in inscriptions is called epigraphy. So tell me if all are true or whether anything is reversed. So 3 questions are there. Put the MCQ number and put it in comment section. And if you want the entire thing, try to get it from our Facebook page. This is the page, and any donations you can make it to this particular thing. And as we always say, if you practice the right way, no one can stop you from cracking UPSC this time. Okay, we are doing a holistic coverage. Please make use of the series and spread to everybody. Okay, and MCQs, you will be thinking like you can simply watch the MCQs here and then you will get a lot of questions. But if you see 20 or 25 lectures will be there. Maximum 3 questions I am putting. You will get only 75 questions. Okay, even if I put 3 questions per video, but I have total of about 225 MCQs. Okay, based on these textbooks alone. So try to get it from our Facebook page. Okay, so till I come up with the next video, give your feedback. Enjoy learning. Thank you and have a nice day.